Well, good evening. There is a new development going on. A guy named Bill Brockbrader. Uh, as you know, I've mentioned him before, and this is directly related to Drake. Um, so couldn't find a really relevant quote, so I'm not quoting today. So, Bill, who, unlike our friend Drake, has a name, a face, and a backstory that we need to analyze. Analyze. In other words, we have something to go with, as opposed to the mysterious floating voice named Drake. At any rate, he's been arrested. Uh, I guess the news got out on the 25th. That's when I saw the video was posted on the 25th. The video says that the arrest happened on the 14th, and I didn't catch this till last night on the 28th. I watched the video that his soulmate, Eva Moore, made, where he called from jail to discuss the matter. Basically, she had a cordless hardline phone, made the phone call, and just put the receiver up to the microphone, etc., etc. Good crystal clear quality, and then she would also be sharing, so kind of like a conference call. I am not certain if this info of his arrest is legit, but they did post the contact info of the jail on the video. This is to allow for people to submit character references and other supporting letters. If true, it means he invites people like you and me to say what they have to say about him. That has to be seen by judges and lawyers, etc., which I find very interesting. That is all about him trusting his supporters, not being afraid of living the claims he has made. Because a lot of people will say, well, I'm not afraid to speak out or whatever. And sure, you're not afraid to speak out because, you're not afraid of money. Somebody hands you money, buy my book, etc., etc. Here, he's risking the loss of his freedom. And, he's already gone through enough, and it can just get worse from there. Well, at any rate, according to Bill, he turned himself in. And he did this of his own free will. He says he is not afraid, and he wants this to happen. He wants it to happen because his victory will be a legal ground for all people like him to be free. I'm basically paraphrasing what he said. I don't know if he really literally meant everybody, like just you and me being free of aspects of the system, or if he simply meant other people that have been in above top secret operations. What this would mean is, this means any soldier or civilian that is involved in above top secret projects, at least in this country, can get out of the trap of silence, fear, and entrapment. Those are all the things that Bill said was happening to him because of their fear that he would speak. And and from all the movies we've ever seen and known, yeah, let's face reality. That is what we understand it to be true. Makes sense to me how they would operate, especially when nobody would ever believe you. If Bill makes it through this with his character intact and free and his voice let loose, through a federal court system, let me remind you, then all the bullshit comes out. Remember, Bill allegedly has been in contact with Grays from Area 51, and that's the wildest thing I've heard him say so far. And believe me, there's a couple other pretty wild things as well, which are almost exactly up there. So imagine if that ends up having some damn level of relevance. It probably won't, but my point is that that's everything that's connected to this man. And this is all about the scandal designed to cover him up and shut him down and to make him afraid to speak the truth. So yeah, true or not, point is that gets in the legal system. I don't know if that is the nature of his trial, but I believe something in regards to, but I believe it's more likely to be something in regards to those false child molester claims as the actual issue, if they are false claims. They probably are, or sexual assault, or whatever sexual predator thing they slapped on him, because they like to use that because that's a fun way to get control over people, is you put a bullshit a sexual predator charge on somebody. And believe me, I don't have any first-hand knowledge of it, but I have some second-hand knowledge of it, and it sucks. Believe me, it sucks. And he has it double suck because of what he is. But to uncover such a scandal designed to silence his government ties that will link to I'm sorry, that phrased out wrong. But if you were to uncover this scandal, which which was designed with cover-ups involved or whatever, you eventually have to get to the cop that took the order to process the false report, and then who he, and where that comes from. Somebody's probably going to end up being a fall guy, and it's going to make it look really suspicious, and that's partly what's probably going to help him. There's a damn good chance that he's going to walk from this, because I think they are more scared of letting it go through the process. I do not expect this to somehow ramrod a disclosure. I expect somebody to get fired or something to protect the lie, and then in the process of protecting that lie, it will also throw out the court case. But because of how that process will go through, it will not be something they can easily replicate, and it's not going to be something they're going to be able to stop. So everybody else, like I said, who's ever gone through this Black Ops stuff, at the very least, that will become a reality. So, but at the best case scenario, if they don't succeed in a fall guy thing, then that cop is going to end up disclosing, well, this G-man, this Mr. Men in Black showed up and said, you need to create this. And then you start getting into the government departments. That's when you start actually analyzing. It's like, at the very least, you've now acknowledged government tampering for the sake of protecting secrets. And at the very least, it'll be legitimately a conspiracy. The details of the conspiracy, who knows? Could be something as stupid as drug smuggling. But then again, it could be something as epic as time travel or aliens. So, that's what it is. Now, otherwise, Bill is not worried that someone will accuse him of lying. We shall see how this ends up. I've never seen this happen to someone in the conspiracy community before. The only other persons on this level of I've seen aliens in the government and I don't care are Andrew Basaggio and Bob Dean. Those are the only other two guys that seem to don't care and have spoken directly about, like, oh yeah, I met aliens. Some of them are my best friends, and yeah, I was at the Gettysburg Address, and the wildest things, which they're allowed to speak, and you assume because the government hasn't tried to shut them up yet that they must be lying, because we can't perceive the government allowing something like that if it were true. That's certainly where my mind goes with it, and that's always like, and where are the Men in Black trying to do the phaser thingy and wipe our minds blank, or where's the cops with the big guns coming in to take care of Mr. Basaggio and to threaten his family? That's the thing. It's like, what? Anyway, I felt it was important and relevant to speak of this just because I had just done the Drake episode, and this is directly related. This is what we know. I say this is what we know because the information is right in front of our face, based on the various comments that each has had about each other. Bill Brockbrader said Drake is likely a trustable person. Drake comes from David Wilcock as a source. Now, Bill and Wilcock became friends right away after Bill decided to come forward and be himself. So there's a trust established there. So David Wilcock is on board with Bill. But here's where it gets a little weird. But Drake seems to be at odds with Bill, despite the fact that Bill likes Drake and the mutual link from David Wilcock. This is a sad drama that we have to be smart about to discern. I am far more inclined to listen to Bill. However, I am not fond of his theory on President Obama when it came to when he recently had spoken about the mass arrests bit, and that Obama, not to say that Obama's a good guy, but that he will turn good guy, which sure, that makes sense when you're doing like arrests or whatever. You got a guy, you lessen the charges against him because he cooperates, etc., etc. I get that. Look, just these people need to go through a trial. You can't make a promise like that to somebody when it's this big, this terrible, this epic. You can't. You just can't. It's up to the American public, when and if the shock, is forced upon us. And it won't be until that shit hits the fan until we can really sit there and we can really say, okay, things are turning out in the way that makes sense towards our betterment as a society and our freedom and our strength. And of course, my own personal selfishness, where I feel like we gotta go towards a libertarian society. But somebody can make a case when things change, but they really have to make the case. Long story short is, we still need to see what's going on, because there will still be certain choices that we're going to have to make when we're forced to make them. And we have to have the right level of information, because, we could be seeing that atypical biblical scenario, mark of the beast, the economy crashes, all of a sudden, Drake comes forward and says, okay, we're setting up the economy, we're going to have this interesting system, you got to get this ID system or whatever going on, everybody's got to have one. And I'm like, what? That'll be like, nah, I can see the mark of the beast right there. No, unless you want to tell me that somehow the Bible is twisted enough where the mark of the beast was supposed to be a good thing and the bad guy's making us think it's whatever. You see what I mean? Because that is one thing. I'll make this quick comment right now. There's one small idea that, nobody's possibly considering that we should, is that a great deal of what the Bible says is evil is actually good, and certain things that are good are evil. They could twist it enough that way. They, at the very least, are at least changing the suggestions. So, I'm trying not to be into a rambling here, but just hear me out when I say, just be careful that some conspiracy theorist thinks he's figured out exactly who the New World Order's propping up as the Antichrist. If indeed it's somebody being propped up. Because at this point, Ron Paul could be the fucking Antichrist. And everything that he's done makes him further from the truth, because everything he's done is about putting the power back in our hands. Not by make me president, you get power, but just simply telling us this is the power, this is how to get the power. If I'm grateful, I'd be grateful if you make me your president, but you know what? He's told us so much that even if he loses the election, he's still won, because we know exactly what to expect, and what we expect is not necessarily something that has to do with how the president initiates a policy. It's about remembering how this country is, how being an American works. So thank you. Be safe, be out there, do your own research, all right? Namaste.